Hey all, hope you're all doing well. Hope you're enjoying whatever you're reading. Hopefully the weather has cleared up wherever you are. I'm assuming most of my viewers are from North America. So if you like what you see in here, please like and subscribe. I know I forgot to do that in the last couple videos. I'm really sorry. My brain has been muddled. I'm going through some stuff right now, and as you can tell, I'm recovering from a really bad cold. Anyways, the book I'm going to review today is called The Giver of Stars by Jojo Moyes. It was his book club pick back in 2020. It actually came out, I believe it was 2020. I'm just double checking. It came out in 2019, so it came out just before COVID hit. And I remember getting a copy. I got a hardback copy from the library without this sticker. I should note. And I remember reading it, and I was just absolutely floored by it, and I really liked it. This was back before I did, and this is the first time I've read it in quite a number of years. It's quite a different book from her other books, in that I think her other books are primarily set in England and in Europe. So, and this one's primarily set in Kentucky. And apparently she spent like a year in Kentucky. Like she spent the course of a year over several months. She visited several times during, I guess, yeah, she spent time in Kentucky, and she got to know people in that area and stuff. So, it feels authentic. Anyway, so I'll read the back, and then I'll give you my rating and my thoughts. Alice Wright marries handsome American Bennett Van Cleve, hoping to escape her stifling life in England. But small-town Kentucky quickly proves equally claustrophobic. So when a call goes out for a team of women to deliver books as part of Eleanor Roosevelt's new traveling library, Alice signs on enthusiastically. Soon she will be joined by 4 other singular women who become known as the Pack Horse Librarians of Kentucky. Set in Depression-era America and based on a true story, The Giver of Stars is the breathtaking tale of their remarkable journey and a richly rewarding novel of women's friendship, of true love, and what happens when we reach beyond our grasp for the great beyond. This really does emphasize. Now, I gave this book, I try to remember, it's been a few weeks since I read it as of this recording. I gave this book about a 4.5, I think. It's one of my favorites. As you can tell, most of my favorites are historical fiction. There's a reason for that. I love historical fiction. I have always loved historical fiction. It's either historical or realistic fiction that I tend to gravitate towards. I'm not much of a fan of science fiction. I'm not much of a fan of fantasy, you can tell. I'm mostly yeah. So in any case, I really like this book. I came off of this book after reading Me Before You, which also has a movie starring Emilia Clarke, who was Daenerys Targaryen in the Game of Thrones franchise. Looks very different. I think that's more her natural hair color in Me Before You, which is surprising because she looks awfully good as a blonde in the Game of Thrones series. And so this is quite a departure. She tends to write this. Yes, there is a bit of romance in the book. I will say that. So it's not a pure historical fiction book, but it is the type of book that I would say is more historical than romance. There are elements of romance, and there are romantic relationships that are discussed in the book, both good and bad. And they also discuss the Kentucky coal mine situation in the 30s and the unions and that sort of thing. And so that was a real departure from what normally is discussed. So, that being said, I really like this book. Like I said earlier, I gave this book about a 4.5. Really fascinating book. I thought, in its book, I think this is my third reading of the book, or me. Yeah, I think it's my third reading of this book. It's one of my favorites, and it has been quite a bit of was a bit of time between this reading and my last reading. I think my last reading was, I'm trying to think, it's probably in 2022. So about 4 years ago I read it. So it's been a while since I read it. It's been on my shelf for quite a while. And I actually do have 2 copies of this book. I have same edition, because I did something called a post-it book club. So what we would do is we would read the book, and then we would make notes in the book and give our thoughts at the back, and then send it along to another person, and then that person would do the same. They would send it to a third person, and then they would make their thoughts, and then they would send it to the fourth person. Fourth person would do the same, give their thoughts, and then send it back to me, send it back to the original person. So that was kind of fun. It was all spread across the country. I decided to join a Canadian one. They only did, and so that summer I got to read some really good books. Some I enjoyed more than others. I read an Olympus one by Stacy something or other, and it just, I don't know, it was really good. It was a play on, I guess, Odysseus, or the Odyssey, I think it was, or the Iliad, I can't remember. It was something to do with Greek myth retellings. And I thought that was Olympia, Texas or something. It was something to do with Texas. That's all I know. That's all I can remember. But in any case, that I did that. And this is only the third time, and I haven't read it in quite a while, and so I've forgotten quite a bit of the details. And funny enough, with my book club that I did this with, we also do a movie with the book. But there's no movie with this book. So, because if you've read the book, you know that Little Women is mentioned. So we watched Little Women, the 1994 version, which is the best version of the movie, of the book, the best adaptation that you can find out there. Yes, the 2019 adaptation starring Saoirse Ronan and Emma Watson and Florence Pugh, that was directed by and Laura Linney, and that was directed by Greta Gerwig, is also quite good, just not my favorite. And I realize that one has more of the Little Women story in it. There are things in there that are mentioned that aren't used in the 94 version. But I don't know, the 94 version just has the sense of that movie. I think also the fact that Timothée Chalamet is Laurie in that one just does not work for me. I'm sorry, but Christian Bale will always be Laurie to me. And yes. So in any case, the 94 one is the one starring Winona Ryder and Susan Sarandon and Claire Danes before she got really big. By that point, she had only done the series on ABC. What was it called? It's about teenage angst. And it was before she did Romeo and Juliet, and Romeo and Juliet with Leo. And that's when she got really big. And that was before Homeland. If you remember the Claire Danes series in the 90s, that was on ABC, I can see it in my mind's eye. I think there was a gay character at that point. It was a teenage... something life, my so-called, no, it wasn't My So-Called Life, because that was with Kelly Morton. Anyways, I'm getting a lot of things mixed up here. So anyways, that's, yeah, and that was The Little Women what we watched. That is to say, that's the one we watched. The one from 92 or 94. I think it was 94. It came out in 94. Because that film was largely filmed in Victoria. And actually, the scene where Meg goes to the ball at Moffat's is actually filmed at a well-known society house in Victoria called Cradock Castle. Even though it's not a castle, it's quite a big home. And it was probably the biggest home in the area at the time. Anyways, I really like this book. One of my favorites. I highly recommend you read it. Especially, it's very, I think, still very pertinent today, because there was a lot in this book. They talk about the banning of books, and especially banning of books that some people deem inappropriate. And I think the book they actually ban, they don't say it outright, it's a book called Married Love by Mary Stopes. Now, if you've watched Downton Abbey, the series, you know there's a reference to Married Love in that series. I think it's season 5. I could be wrong. I think it is. It's either season 4 or season 5 that Married Love is made mention of. So I think that's the book that is mentioned here. It doesn't say explicitly what the book is, but that's my gut. So that was The Giver of Stars by Jojo Moyes. I really highly recommend it. It's a lot about literacy and learning and how people are still like this, still like that, and they want to ban everything that they don't deem appropriate, no matter what. And they do not want to give people the ideas and the imagination. And it also has a crime in about 2/3 of the way through, and it's about motherhood, and it's about love and marriage and all kinds of different things, but mainly it's about literacy and learning and books and how books can transform people in a very powerful way. So, sorry about the length today. I appreciate you guys hanging in there today. I am so sorry. I know I rattled on about a bunch of other things today, but that's just the nature of my booktube videos. So if you, like I said earlier, if you enjoy what I do here, please like and subscribe, and please, if you can, give me a few shekels through bookshop.org. You can find this book and most of the other books that I have reviewed here there. And because we want to support the local economy, and you can support your local library, your local bookstore, by giving them a bit of money as well through my site. There's a link at the bottom in my description to my bookshop.org site, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye for now.